Your parents probably told you to save all your money in a savings account, avoid debt like the plague, and buy a house as soon as humanly possible. And if you followed that advice, you're probably still broke. But here's the thing, it's not their fault. The economy they gave you advice for doesn't exist anymore. So let's break down exactly what they got wrong and, more importantly, why they believed it in the first place. Look, your parents meant well. They gave you the best financial advice they had based on their lived experience. The problem is, their economy had houses that cost $30,000, college tuition at $2,000 a year, and savings accounts that actually paid 5 to 8% interest. Your economy? Houses cost $400,000, college costs $200,000, and savings accounts pay you basically nothing. Same advice, completely different world. Let's get into it. This is probably the most common advice, and it sounds responsible, right? Put your money somewhere safe where it can grow. Except it doesn't grow. Right now, most savings accounts pay you around 0.5% interest per year. Meanwhile, inflation is running at 3 to 4% annually. That means your money is actively losing value just sitting there. You're getting poorer by being responsible. In the 1980s, your parents could put money in a savings account and earn 5, 6, even 8% interest. That actually beat inflation. It made sense. Today, you need to be in high-yield savings accounts at minimum, I-bonds for safety, or low-cost index funds for actual growth. The game changed, but nobody updated the playbook. The banks are still happy to take your money and pay you nothing for it, though. Funny how that works. Your parents probably told you debt is evil, credit cards are the devil, never owe anyone anything. And look, I get a bad debt will destroy you. High-interest credit cards, payday loans, buying stuff you can't afford, that's financial poison. But here's what they missed. There's good debt and bad debt. A mortgage at 3% interest that lets you buy an asset that appreciates? That's good debt. A business loan that generates more revenue than it costs? Good debt. Using leverage strategically to build wealth? That's how rich people got rich. Your parents grew up with Depression-era stories passed down from their grandparents. Stories of people losing everything because of debt. In their world, that made sense. But today, avoiding all debt means missing out on compound growth, asset appreciation, and strategic opportunities. The wealthy use debt as a tool. You're avoiding it completely. Guess who's winning? This is the big one. Rent is throwing money away, right? You need to buy a house immediately, build equity, live the American dream. Except when your parents bought their first house, it probably cost 3 times their annual salary. Today, the median home costs 8 to 10 times the median income. They bought their house for $80,000 when they made $25,000 a year. You're looking at a $400,000 house while making $50,000. The math doesn't math anymore. Plus, they never told you about property taxes that go up every year, maintenance costs that average 1 to 2% of the home's value annually, HOA fees, insurance, the opportunity cost of your down payment, or the fact that you might need to move for a better job but now you're re-locked into a mortgage. Renting isn't throwing money away if it gives you flexibility, lower monthly costs, and the ability to invest the difference. Sometimes renting is the smarter, financial move. Your parents couldn't comprehend that because in their world, housing was actually affordable. Your parents probably told you education is everything. Go to the best school that accepts you. Don't worry about the cost, it's an investment in your future. Student loans are good debt. Here's the reality. Your parents went to college when it cost $2,000 a year. You can work a summer job and pay for college, they said. Today, average student loan debt is over $30,000. Many students graduate with 6 figures of debt. And unless you're going into a high-paying field, that debt will haunt you for decades. The return on investment varies wildly. A computer science degree from a state school will probably make you more money than an English degree from an Ivy League school that costs $300,000. But your parents didn't need to think about ROI because college was cheap enough that it didn't matter what you studied. Now, college is a business decision, not just an educational one. And nobody wants to tell you that because it feels wrong. But going to an expensive school for a low-paying degree is financial self-destruction. Your parents told you to find a good company, work hard, be loyal, and you'll be rewarded with raises, promotions, and eventually a pension. That was real advice for a real world that actually existed. Today, pensions are basically extinct. Companies have zero loyalty to employees. They'll lay you off the second it helps their quarterly earnings. Meanwhile, staying at the same company for years is the worst financial decision you can make. Job hoppers, people who switch companies every 2 to 4 years, earn 20 to 50% more over their careers than people who stay put. Why? Because your current employer has no incentive to give you a real raise. They'll give you 2 to 3% annually. But a new employer will give you 10 to 20% to bring you on board. Your parents worked for companies that rewarded loyalty with pensions and real raises. You work for companies that reward loyalty by paying you less than new hires doing the same job. The game changed. Stop playing by the old rules. This one is insidious because it sounds like it's about manners and class. Don't talk about your salary. Don't ask what people make. Money is private. You know who benefits from that? Employers. Salary secrecy keeps you underpaid. It prevents you from knowing you're making 30% less than your coworker for the same work. It stops collective bargaining before it starts. Your parents believed it because it was a social taboo designed to keep workers from organizing. Today, salary transparency is your friend. Websites like Glassdoor, Levels-FYI, and open conversations with peers are how you find out you're being underpaid. The people making money love when you don't talk about money. Wonder why? This might be the most painful one because it feels so true. Your parents succeeded by working hard, so they told you the same thing. Just put your head down, grind, work long hours, and you'll be rewarded. Except hard work is table stakes now. Everyone works hard. The people getting ahead are the ones making strategic career moves, networking aggressively, and making themselves visible to decision makers. Working 80-hour weeks at a job that doesn't promote you is just burning yourself out for someone else's profit. Your parents lived in an economy where merit-based promotions were real, unions were strong, and hard work actually did get rewarded. You live in an economy where your manager's nephew gets promoted over you despite doing half the work. Hard work is necessary, but it's not sufficient. And no one wants to tell you that because it sounds cynical, but it's true. Your parents probably told you the stock market is basically gambling. You could lose everything. Just keep your money safe in the bank. Here's the thing. Not investing in the stock market is actually riskier long term. The S&P 500 has averaged about 10% annual returns for the last century. Yes, there are crashes. Yes, there's volatility, but over 20, 30, 40 years, the market goes up. Your savings account pays 0.5%. Inflation is 3%. You're guaranteed to lose money doing the safe thing. Your parents were traumatized by the Great Depression stories and the 1987 crash. They saw people lose fortunes, but they missed that the people who stayed in the market recovered and got rich. The people who stayed in cash got poor slowly. Low-cost index funds are the closest thing to a guaranteed wealth-building tool for regular people. But your parents told you it was gambling, so you stayed broke safely. This sounds so responsible. Get out of debt fast. Own your home free and clear. Be financially free. But it's terrible advice in a low-interest rate environment. If you have a mortgage at 3% interest and the stock market returns 10% on average, you're losing 7% per year by paying off your mortgage early instead of investing that money. Your parents were told to pay off their mortgages early when interest rates were 8, 10, even 15%. That math made sense. When you're paying 15% interest, paying that off early is a guaranteed 15% return. That beats almost any investment. But at 3%, you're way better off investing the extra money. It's pure math. But it feels irresponsible because your parents' advice was so deeply ingrained. The advice made sense in their context. It's bad advice in yours. This is real advice people gave. Credit cards are dangerous. They'll trap you in debt. Don't even have one. Modern reality? Your credit score determines whether you can rent an apartment, get a car loan, or qualify for a mortgage. Building credit is essential. Plus, credit cards offer 2 to 5% cash back, fraud protection, extended warranties, and sign-up bonuses worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. Using credit cards strategically is free money. Not having them costs you opportunities. Your parents lived through the credit card debt epidemic of the 80s and 90s. They saw people destroy their lives with 18% interest debt. Their fear was valid. But the solution isn't to avoid credit cards, it's use them responsibly and pay them off in full every month. Rich people use credit cards for everything and pay zero interest while earning thousands in rewards. Poor people either avoid them entirely or carry balances at 20% interest. The tool isn't the problem. The education is. Look, your parents gave you the best advice they had based on their economy. Houses were cheap. College was cheap. Savings accounts paid real interest. Hard work got rewarded. Loyalty mattered. None of that is true anymore. Wages stagnated. Costs exploded. The social contract broke. And nobody updated the financial advice. So don't blame your parents. They meant well. Blame the system that changed all the rules but kept telling you to play the old game. The world your parents succeeded in doesn't exist anymore. Stop following advice designed for an economy that's been dead for 30 years. Adapt, learn the new rules, and maybe, just maybe, you'll stop being broke.